this thing going on. So we are actually working, and I got this auto framing thing on every time I move, the camera move. Okay, anyway, good evening, my Plenty family, and welcome to Ask Anything Parking with Andrea. It is Wednesday. We meet every Wednesday at 9:30. Today we was having some technical difficulties, but we are here in the building or in the house. So today's topic is parking apps. Why? What? So the topic is what do they fix, what they don't fix, and how to use them. Right. So tonight we're talking about parking apps. Right. What do they actually do? Right. What they don't do, and how to use them the right way. So this is not a promotion. This is just a breakdown, just for clarity purposes, right? So what parking apps actually do? So at their very core, parking apps are connectors, right? They connect drivers looking for parking and garages with available spaces. They help make parking more organized to the best of its ability, but they don't control the parking itself, right? What they help with, like four things they mainly help with is, right, they help with searching for parking, comparing prices, reserving your parking space in advance, which is awesome, and paying digitally. They can reduce the guessing game. Like if I'm get there, am I going to find parking? Is the parking garage going to be full? That helps you, right? But they do not eliminate the problem. So who do they benefit? Who benefits from parking apps? I think a lot of people do. A lot of drivers, majority of the drivers, right? So if you're a daily commuter, if you park daily, apps can help reduce the time spent searching for parking. They can fix saving time and price visibility. But what they don't fix is the high parking costs. Because even though you might be able to find the parking on the app, you still might have to pay out of pocket for that space depending on where you're at, right? And also the limited availability. So you have the app, right, that can show you the spaces, but if their spaces are limited, that can't help you resolve that issue, right? And then also monthly parkers. So for monthly parkers, apps can help you find options faster. So you might be going out of town, you might need to have a car, put up for a month, or you're just looking for monthly parking. So it's easy to discover different options, and then you can digitally set it up. Like you don't have to worry about going into the actual the parking garage. You can actually go online and just set up your monthly payments, right? But what they don't fix is they don't fix the expensive monthly rates, right? Because parking monthly rates can be high depending on the location, and then also the long term commitment, which is very rare. I don't see a lot of parking garage making you have this long term commitment with them, but you might come across that. And also, who benefits from, again, who benefits from parking apps? That's event parking, right? So if you're going to an event, right, this can be very helpful. They fix pre-planning. If you know exactly where the event is at, you can pre-plan exactly where you're going to park your car, right? Knowing where to go. You don't have to be searching when you get to the location. You don't know, you might be coming from Connecticut to Brooklyn, and you don't know where you at. So that helps you, right? And then also reduce the last minute stress, because parking can be stressful. I mean, we all know that. And we try not to have stress over here. Surely we don't. But what it doesn't fix is traffic congestion, because if you're going to an event, there might be traffic like that Jay-Z. I can only imagine that Jay-Z concert is going to be off the chain, but it's going to be a lot of traffic, right? What it also doesn't fix is entry and exit delays. So a lot of people, they use the parking app, right? So it actually can help them to get in quicker, but when they're exiting, everybody's waiting the same way, the same line to get their vehicle, right? And overcrowding, right? Because if there's an event, there's a lot of people who's parking their vehicle. So, but they'll get you there, but not always is it smooth, right? It's not a smooth process. So, what does parking apps fix versus don't fix? We'll just go through it one more time. Parking apps fix searching for parking, comparing parking prices, booking your parking ahead of time, and paying digitally without cash. Right? They don't fix the parking supply, the traffic, the garage operations, and the full parking experience. So there, we did a little research to give you some complaints that people had about parking apps. So when you look at the real reviews, you start to see the same issues come up again and again. So like complaint number one, I reserved, but there was no space. People showed up and the garage is full. You get your money back, you get refunded, but you still don't have a parking space, right? Another complaint, pricing, confusion, and hidden fees. So the prices that you see isn't always the final price. So you want to make sure that you think about that. Hi. So you want to think about that, right? You want to make sure that you know all the different fees. Um, like fees, taxes, and event pricing can add up quickly. So you want to make sure you identify those before you book your space. Okay. And another complaint was confusion at the location. People can't find the garage, or the garage doesn't recognize the booking. So now you're driving around after you already paid looking for it because you can't find the location that was on the app, or when you get there, they won't accept your booking because they don't recognize the booking. So the real issue, what is the real issue here? It seems like what's really going on here. The issue isn't the app, it's the disconnect between the app and the actual parking experience, right? And I think that's what we struggle with, like that parking experience. Like we want it to be seamless. I know I do. I want to be able to get in my car and be able to get out, right? In and out. That's what I want. And I want my space to be available. But parking apps guarantee the transaction. They do, but not the experience. So, and honestly, that's something that we thought about a lot at Plenty. Because if the gap is between booking and the actual experience, then the real opportunity isn't just finding parking, it's improving what happens after you arrive. That is where it's at, right? So when should you use parking apps? I don't think there's a bad time when you can use them. I think it's about how you use them, right? So you use them when you need directions fast, when you need to locate a parking garage quickly, right? You're in a rush, you need to get somewhere. That might be a good option for you. You're going somewhere unfamiliar. You're not familiar with the location. You're not exactly sure where to park your vehicle. That could be useful. And then you want to compare prices, right? You can go to the app. Most likely you have 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 parking garages in that location that you could park. You could actually compare the price in. And you want to plan ahead. Like plan ahead. For my people who like to be prepared so they don't have any surprises, this actually might be a good option for you, right? So and when it comes around event parking, so if your plans are confirmed, like if you know exactly where like it's an event or there's a meeting, you can book early so you can secure a good location and price, right? So it's best for events. If you're going for a flight or if it's an important meeting, you want to be there on time, that actually might be the best thing for you. Even if you're planning something at the last minute, or not last minute, but you have some form of flexibility, right? You could use the app closer to your arrival to guide you where to go. So it's best for when you're running late, because I know a lot of people run late. You have unplanned stops. You don't know. You might have to go somewhere ahead before you actually go into a location. And then also when you're unsure of where you'll park, right? So that can be helpful when you have more flexibility around your timing. So if your plans are set, book early, right? But if you're moving on the fly, like, in and out, use the app closer to your arrival to guide you. So I thought that was very helpful. So that being said, I want to also give you some more tips. Double check your location details when you're parking, when you use the app, and have a backup plan just in case, right? Just in case you want to have a backup plan, especially if there's an event that's happening. Sometimes you get to these, you use the app, they can't actually, some of the apps can't guarantee that you'll have the space when you get there. So you want to make sure that you have a backup plan because they will refund you your money, but they won't be able to guarantee to get you another space, right? So let's be mindful of that. So there's a lot of apps out there, right? You have Spot Hero, you have ParkWiz, you have Park Mobile, and they all do good jobs, right? Helping people find parking, but again, they don't solve everything. Parking apps, they're helpful. They are, right? But they don't always solve parking problems completely. The smartest drivers don't just rely on apps, but they understand how parking actually works. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. So the key takeaway is parking apps organize the parking, but they don't control the experience. And that's the main thing that people want to walk away with when they're parking, a great experience. So thank you, Plenty Family, for joining us today. That is our segment, right? Parking apps. And listen, if you like what you heard, please hit that like button. Just it's very simple. The thumbs up, that takes 1 second. And then also, if you want to get more information about parking, if you're crazy about parking like I am, subscribe because we come on every Wednesday and we'd like to give you tips and give you, some to-dos for yourself to make you be able to navigate through this parking frenzy. And also, if you know anybody who's interested in parking, share with them. Just, hit that little arrow that goes this way and share with them. And it's very simple. All that together probably take you like 1 minute. So anyway, thank you, Plenty Family. Thank you for joining us. And you have a blessed day.